Hello, thank you for joining me here, my narc-free family. My name is Cree. So I have been doing several videos using H.G. Tudor's book entitled Fuel, this book right here. I think I've done 6 videos so far, so I encourage you to go check out those. And but I'm starting a new series now. I'm using H.G. Tudor's book. It's called Smeared: Knowing and Beating the Narcissist Campaign. And for those of you who don't know, H.G. Tudor is a narcissist, and so the information I'm giving you is coming from the point of view of a narcissist. Some people find his voice hard to listen to, or they feel like he's creepy. I don't, but for those of you who think his voice is creepy, maybe you'll like his books better. So I'm going to read just some things from this book to help you understand the smear campaign better. This is what the cover looks like, and I will leave a link for this below for both of these books and for the videos that I did previously, okay? So in the beginning of the book, he's talking about what is a smear campaign. A smear campaign uses half-truths or the unfair use of the truth out of context or exaggerated to discredit a person in the eyes of others. In the context of its use by our kind, he's talking about by narcissists, it is invariably a campaign which is oral in nature. We like to use words because they are easy to use and can have a devastating effect. It does not take much effort for us to spew out some untruths about the victim of our campaign. Words also evaporate into the ether and allow us to deny ever saying them should you try to confront us about what we have been saying about you. He goes on to say, words are prone to being misheard, misinterpreted, and misunderstood. So you see here that he's saying, yes, we're going to go and we're going to tell these untruths, but if you come and you check us on our behavior and you ask us why we're saying that, then we're going to gaslight you and say, you know, they must have heard us wrong. There's no way that I said that about you, and now they're going to run game on you, okay? So the smear campaign does more than one thing, because it discredits you and it discredits your reputation, and it is meant to destroy you and show you in a very bad light, which, you know, can go on for years and years. When someone tells a story, then that story gets passed down from person to person. People you don't even know hear the story, and then one day they meet you, okay? So it is really meant to devastate you. Let me keep going. They're prone to be misheard, misinterpreted, and misunderstood, all of which are advantages which we exploit in order to avoid accountability for our smears whilst propagating them against the victim. All right, the smear campaign is intentional. All right, a smear campaign will arrive suddenly when used by us, and its duration tends to be short. This is because we want it to appear without warning. Some of the time, you all, the smear campaign is used to get a reaction out of you, or sometimes they want you to stop. Maybe you've left them and they want you back and you've gone no contact, and sometimes they'll use the smear campaign to get you to contact them so that you will be horrified and mortified, and you will call them, you know, crying and cussing and screaming, which is exactly what they want. So there's goals to the smear campaign outside of just devastating you. Let's see, be quickly circulated amongst those we are seeking to influence and have an immediate effect. All right. So for those of you who have experienced the smear campaign, you know how devastating it is, and you know that it muddies the waters. And what it does is they say something about you, and a half-truth, as far as I'm concerned, is a whole lie. All right, you can't tell half the truth. If you're telling half the truth, you're telling the whole lie, because you're trying to skew the the situation in a different way than it really was. For instance, say that, you know, you got into an argument and you yelled at them once, okay? But the argument was out in public where people could hear you, okay? Maybe you had had a couple of drinks, they did something crazy. Maybe it's your narcissist touched another woman right in front of you and you said something about it and, you know, you went in on them, okay? Well, that may be the only time that ever happened, all right? But they are going to use that and say that you are always like that and that you are at home screaming and yelling at them and that you are verbally abusive, and they are going to politely leave out the part about that you were drinking at the time, that they actually had been touching another woman, flirting with another woman right in front of you. Things like that. They're going to totally leave out anything that that puts any light on the situation, which clarifies why maybe you were acting out of character, and they're going to completely throw you under the bus. Let's see what else he has to say, because I'm just going reading certain things that I highlighted that I thought were important. See, there are many different types of smear campaigns, and he'll detail those later. He says, either a sensation or embarrassing secret is leaked and made widely known. All right. Another way the smear campaign is formed is to invent something about the target. So when you hear people on these videos and we're telling you to protect yourself, get away from the narcissist, this is why. Because they will actually falsify a story about you. And when you go trying to clear up the story and tell people, then you sound crazy. Because obviously, if they've told a crazy story about you, and now you're going to go and try to clear it up, you're going to have to tell people the things they really were doing to you. Okay? So now no one knows what the truth is, because the narcissist has muddied the waters, because they've done so much crazy stuff to you that when you go to tell it, it sounds so over the top, and the narcissist is so cool, calm, and collective when they're lying on you that it makes you seem like the crazy person. Don't try to explain yourself to people who don't care and who are not interested in hearing the truth. To eliminate you being stressed out, let them smear your name. They want to get a response out of you by doing so. Let them say whatever it is they want to say. I know that that sounds hard. I know that that is not what you want to hear. But I promise you, if you go in to tackle that, you get sucked into it and you get so overwhelmed and so worked up trying to tell your truth that it then makes you look crazy, which is what the narcissist was trying to do all along. Don't even fool with it. Don't even waste your time. If people believe the kind of foolishness that the narcissist comes up with, let them believe it, okay? The seeds of the smear campaign are actually sowed by you way back during the seduction, and we gratefully accept those seeds, which we carefully incubate, ready to use as terrible thorny plants to rip and tear your reputation to shreds at a later date. When you met the narcissist and you were being vulnerable, and they were in the love bombing phase, and they were talking to you and they were asking you, what are your fears, and what is it you like to do? What is it you don't like to do? Tell me about your family. And you thought they were interested in you. No, baby, they weren't interested in you. They were interested in getting their campaign together and getting it ready. And they go about sowing little seeds of doubt in people's mind. Even when you are dating them, they are running a smear campaign on you very early on. You just don't know it. They're saying little things to put thoughts in people's heads. Maybe you're out somewhere and you look disappointed about something, and one of their friends says, oh, is she okay? You know, she didn't look like herself, she looked sad. And then the narcissist may say, well, you know, she's got a mental disorder and she takes, you know, some medicine. I've been trying to keep it, you know, on the hush, but since you asked about it. And obviously the person's not going to come to you and say this because they think that the narcissist has shared something in confidence with them, so they're not going to say anything. Then months or years later, the narcissist comes back and says, remember, I told you that they were on a drug for a mental condition that they have, and they're not too stable, and now they stopped taking their medication and they've done this, and they are going to smear your name. Okay, and this is inevitable because the smear campaign is used to take all of the accountability off of the narcissist and point it all on to you. If you know this is true, get down in the comments and help some people out. Those of us who have gone through it, I have gone through it. I didn't have the energy to try to clear my name, so it just got smeared and I let it get smeared. But I recommend that that's what you do, because it will wreck your mind if you try to defend yourself, and you don't need to. Everything that's done in the dark comes out to the light. Trust me, everything that's done in the dark and every lie comes up and resurfaces. Just give it time. Who is it? Telsha over at the T on NPD and relationships. She says, somebody in her comments, and she used this and I love this. It says, she said, karma is a patient gangster. Okay, you wait on that karma to come back, and sometimes that karma is that they get exposed for the lies they told on you. All right, sometimes they get exposed in a way, and don't try to figure out what it's gonna be, but however they get exposed, it doesn't have to be you. It will happen, trust me. And when it does, it will clear your name then. And in the meantime, it's just not something you need to worry about. I promise you, keep your sanity and don't try to fix it. Let's see, what does he say here? He says, this is page 17. We need to be able to rely on such people. Let me see where, because I skipped some pages. The definitive supplementary source. Let's see. Then we regard them as defective. I apologize. I had only one part of this highlighted, and I should have highlighted more. We need to be able to rely on such people to provide fuel when we require it, and if the occasions when they do so have reduced, or we see them just as regularly, but our initial charm has become less mesmerizing, so their provision of fuel is reduced, then we regard them as defective. He's talking about the people that aren't fueling them as much while they run a smear campaign on them, because they just don't need them as much anymore. Let's see, we regard those in the position of supplementary sources as servants who are to do what we want. If they no longer do this, be it through moving away from us, no longer having the compliance in their gift, meaning they do not earn as much as they once did, or they cannot accommodate us any longer, or simply because they have decided that they do not want to do that thing for us any longer because it has them drained, unappreciated, and or feeling used, then they are labeled as defective. So you guys, that's, I tell y'all on these videos when we're talking about the Hoover, the narcissist will come back for you, and if they'll come back just to use you up, just to come back and to use you up because they consider you defective for whatever reason. They discarded you, they no longer want you, and or you discarded them because they were cutting up, all right, and now you're defective, and so you are someone that they will run a smear campaign on. Also, they run a smear campaign on everybody because they need for it to be somebody, they need for it to be your fault, somebody else's fault, not their fault. Okay, this is part 1 of the smear campaign series. All right, I will see y'all next time. Hit that thumbs up button if you've liked this video, and leave me a comment down below, and go ahead and subscribe. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye bye, my beautiful people.